Bring in more revenue while saving money and differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack vying to win those guests by becoming more environmentally friendly. We will show you how easy it is and how cheap it can be, if not free, and share all the opportunities available. So join us each week as we take another step along the green path. That's one more step to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. The Green Path podcast is kindly sponsored by Sustonica, the first sustainability recognition for vacation rental homes. What if vacation rental professionals could influence millions of travellers to make their own homes more sustainable? Show the world that you have taken steps to make your vacation rental consume less and get your badge on sustonica.com. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Green Path podcast. Sharing other people's journeys are a great way to inspire and to learn how easy it is to incorporate things into your properties and businesses. Today is one of those sharing episodes. Today, my guest is Mark Combrink, who will share with us what Host to Coast is doing on their Green Path journey. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming along today. Mark, can we start at the point where you started on your green path? What made you start thinking about sustainability? How long ago, and what was it that got you started?
I think in life in general, I've sort of had that. I don't know. It's been obvious to me about waste and all the plastic and things like that, and the wasted energy, the lights left on everywhere, that kind of stuff. When I started this business a few years ago, really what happened was I started interviewing housekeepers, and I noticed that, in our industry, every guest that checks in is greeted with sort of a bundle of little sample size containers of shampoo and conditioner and dish soap. And they're usually in some type of a plastic container. And in interviewing housekeepers, I wanted to know, like, what do you do with these? Where do you get them, and what do you do with them after, when you clean up the property? Yeah. And they say, well, we just toss them, because the company, the vacation rental company, gives me just boxes of these bundles of stuff, so for free. So they said, we just wipe it into the trash and put the new set on the counter. And I thought, oh my God. It was just made me sick to think about that. So I started to think of more creative ways, and just in starting the business, it allowed me to do things the way I wanted to do it, because it's my company. And start to think of, not doing it the way everybody else does it, but what's the best way to do it?
Exactly.
And that was part of it.
Yeah. But when you started thinking about it, so you were already doing it sort of privately for yourself. And then you thought, I'm going to bring this into my business, and the amenities was the first red flag. You thought, I can deal with this.
Yeah, and it's almost like forced green, if you will, right? I can't educate guests to conserve energy or recycle or things like that, right? So I have to almost make it so that there's no option for them. So that means that, if they're going to go wash their dishes, there's a full-size dish soap at the sink that we refill. So they just use it, and that container always sits there.
Yeah.
And it's the same for the bathrooms. It's full-size foaming hand soap that we just refill when we go in to prepare for the arrival. Everything. The little bars of soap, they have to be in cardboard versus plastic wrapping. Everything that we do, our laundry pods, our dish pods, they're in a container that we just open up and put more in. And even down to the dish pods, those are all chemical free, and they're anything that we think of putting into a property we have to ask ourselves, is it sustainable? And again, we're forcing it on the guests. You mentioned LED bulb. It's a small thing to do to replace the light bulbs with LEDs. It saves us time having to replace them all the time, but it also uses less energy.
Yeah. So with the LED lights, first of all, with the amenities, it is foolproofing the thing with the guest. Having refillable, then you know that the guest, nothing, there's not going to be waste. So with the LED lights, did you have much pushback from owners to change over to LED lights? Did you convince them this is going to save?
No. Yeah. I mean, well, it's not even that. I don't really ask permission to do it. We just go in if there's a recessed light, with a normal floodlight in there, we just take them out and put in LED flat ones in the lamps everywhere. I don't really ask for something so small from the owners. Now, where you get pushback is when you say, I would like to put in a thermostat that is, we can monitor and it'll integrate with our software. So it'll shut things down prior to when a guest departs for 2 weeks. Yeah. And they'll bring it back up when they get here. It'll set limits on what they can do. Because that costs a good amount of money, they don't want to do that. So I do have a meeting tomorrow with a company called Verdant, and they're offering some solution for that. I don't know anything about it yet, but that's tomorrow at 10. So
yeah, we're looking into
options for that.
Yeah. There are some solutions that are not expensive, and for the amount of money you save from having the heating on or the aircon on when the house is sitting there empty, then it does make it worthwhile. There's definitely a financial benefit for the owners. Yeah. But there definitely are some good options out there that aren't expensive.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to mention too, and I don't know if you would. I guess it's in the sustainability vein. Is we do provide a gift bag for our guests.
Yep.
And that includes 2 boxes of boxed water. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Nope.
But the containers are made out of like completely plant-based, whatever. I mean, they're boxes. And then what's cool about it though is the proceeds. they plant trees for like they've already planted 1 million trees. Because I guess that's part of their thing when, if you buy, and we go through probably 10,000 boxes of water a year. Whoa. With just our small company. So yeah, I think it's good to know that they're planting trees out there on our behalf.
Yeah.
So everything that, like I said, just about everything we do or provide has to have something to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that your welcome bag is a paper bag, so it can be reusable.
Yep.
And you also, so that was one thing. You also do a number of other things. So hang on, let's stick with the properties actually.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot I want to go and explore. So with these, so you've got the refillable amenities. You just switch over the LED lights one by one. So that's just happening. The owners don't even need to know. Is there anything else that you're doing at the properties? Do you encourage recycling? Do you make it easy for the guests to recycle the rubbish? Is there any tips to that?
No, not really. I mean, it's either, I don't know if people take a vacation from that when they take a vacation or not. I would say that a lot of the, at the houses that we manage, there's clearly receptacles for garbage and for recycling. And so in that instance, yes, it's obvious to me that people are recycling. In the villas that we manage, they're not all set up. For example, one complex has recycling, but it's downstairs in the parking area, like just in one section. It's indicated where the recycling is. In the elevator, it just says where the recycling bins are. I see them being used. I just can't tell if my guests are just put it off, because in the property in the villa, there's just one garbage can in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do they do? I don't know how they're recycling.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of out of place to have there's just not room for another receptacle, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
It would look a little off to have 2 big garbage cans in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay.
Some properties you can pull out the cabinet and there's 2, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So not only are you looking at sustainability in terms of properties, then you have your fingers in another few projects that also give back to the community and things like that. Can we talk about the Deep Well project? What's that about?
Well, Deep Well is just, that's not my program, but I do have a charity. It's called Hosts for Community.
Yeah.
So, and that's something where we ask for, we collect 1% of gross revenue from our guests and our owners who agree to participate. Right now, only about 50% of our owners participate. And then we also contribute 1% of our gross earnings. So, what's cool about that is we're sort of the, I don't know if you would call it a clearinghouse, but with those donations, we donate to places like Deep Well, the Children's Center. The Children's Center is a great one. They provide a place for all these housekeepers that come onto the island to drop their kids off while they clean, for example, and they get food and education and stuff. Deep Well is, for example, if you're living on the island and you don't have enough for food or enough money for food, you can go there and that's where you can get food. They also go to the bus stops, because a lot of our workers come in from far away. They ride the bus. So we've gone to the bus stops with Deep Well, to hand out, they hand out food once a week. We did, bus passes. Unfortunately that was more than we expected. I think 1 month alone, just one day of meeting, it cost us $12,000 for bus passes.
Oh my
God.
So
we've actually pivoted. And so now we do, we've ordered refillable gas credit cards. So we've got 42 housekeepers. And so we'll give them each $100 a month on their gas card so that they can, offset their expenses coming to work for us. So, but yeah, the concept is really the hosts, meaning the property owners and us, would give back to the community.
Yeah.
And right now, really what I'm working on, since my vacation rental business, I've hired the right people. It runs itself. I can focus on the charity now. And if I could just get more vacation rental companies to sign on, we could make a huge difference on this island.
Yeah.
So,
well, it also,
pretty exciting.
I saw on your website about you collect the non-perishable food and paper products and toiletries and personal hygiene products, and that all goes towards the charity and giving back?
That would be something where you would give it to Deep Well. If the housekeepers don't, whatever they don't want, there's sort of an unwritten thing. I don't know what to call it a rule, but benefit. Generally the housekeepers, when they come in, a benefit. Yeah. When they come into the property, if there's non-perishables or even perishables, they'll take them.
Yeah.
We try to get there and get all the beer first.
Yeah.
But, but we try to program where we provided a bag that said clearly, put anything you don't want to take back on the plane in this bag and we'll take it. And then we found that some of the housekeepers are offended by that. So, cause they're the same people who would go to Deep Well to get the food anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. There has been discussion before about what do you do with food left by the guests? And yes, the cleaners, they can take it, but more often than not, they throw everything away. And I've had guests who have had, boxes of food left over and they say, well, what can we do with this? We can't take it with us. And it's like, don't worry, leave it with me. I'll drop it in as a charity. But to have something that's regularly occurring, to take it and give it to the less fortunate, then I think that's a lovely idea.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. And it's the Sandbox. I think that children's learning program. I think that's lovely. So that's the housekeepers bringing their children.
The Sandbox is different. That's more of an educational thing where people could take a field trip or, we have it. It's right attached to this big park where people go to play.
Yeah.
So it's more of an educational thing. The Children's Center is different than that. That's actually after school programs, I think up to like 5th grade age children. So yeah.
Lovely. And you also mentioned plogging, which is very interesting because I'm in the south of France and this is the first time I've ever heard of plogging. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Mine is involved in it. So you have plogging where you are too. Can you explain to everyone what's plogging?
Yeah, essentially we're walking around picking up garbage is what it is. So there's a product that's a plastic ring that a garbage bag could sit in, and a strap that goes over your shoulder. And, you know, I would go out for a walk, especially when I started the business. I didn't have a whole lot to do. So I would go out for a walk, and I would see all this, you know, litter. People just, I mean, it's funny. People would even walk up and put litter in my bag while I was walking. You know, they'd finish their coffee and drop it in there.
Yeah.
But I just started doing that. You know, if I'm taking a walk, I would just pick up garbage, and it's just fascinating how much is thrown out and thrown in the bushes and all kinds of stuff. So I didn't know it was called that. I actually started to come up with a charity called Pug. It just picks up garbage with that. This nice logo prepared and everything. That turned into Host for Community. A little bit broader reach.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anybody interested in picking up garbage. But plogging comes from some European country or something.
Yeah, I think it's actually a French thing, a French term.
Yeah, okay.
And it came from a guy who was jogging, who was picking up rubbish whenever he was jogging because he just couldn't stand the sight of all this litter. So they go plogging every Sunday morning along the coast and on the beachfront. Yeah. And, you know, it's because it's quite incredible too. You know, there was some display once on the promenade down here on the beach about all the cigarette butts that they pick up. And you're sort of like, oh, wow, you know, imagine all of them landing in the ocean and,
Yeah, and ours is cigarette butts and straws.
Yeah. But it's incredible in this day and age. Come on. I mean, haven't we, you know, gotten over the litter issue? I mean, there are bins everywhere. Come on.
Plenty of bins. Yeah. No, we haven't. I'm looking around where I'm sitting right now, and there's several pieces of garbage laying around. And we live on a beautiful island, but I mean, this is just, there's a receipt laying over there and a cup lid, a straw, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. That host community that you're a member of, are you talking about your community? Is it other property managers as well then, or is it all your owners?
In this community, I can't even imagine how many different vacation rental companies there are. There must be at least 30 or 40. I've estimated that we have about conservatively 8,000 rental properties on this island. Where I've estimated they do on average about 50,000 a year gross. So that's about, I don't remember if I came up with doing the math right, like 400 million or something in revenue. And I've said if I could just get 1% of that, right?
Oh yeah. I
mean, it's $4 million a year.
Yeah.
We generate just with our business 145,000 to give away a year. And with just one other rental company, I mean, I had 2 rental companies commit, but not actually start doing the program. But verbally, when they committed, there's just those 2 additional companies, we were going to generate $840,000 a year to give away and start getting into workforce housing, start building places for people to live on the island and make it affordable housing.
Yeah.
Because this island is very wealthy.
Yeah.
A lot of wealthy people here.
I forgot to ask you actually, even at the very beginning, what island are you on?
It's called Hilton Head Island. It's in South Carolina.
I saw it on your website, and I'm not good with geography.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you live somewhere in the vicinity, this is a drive-to destination. So, for example, in COVID, we did really well because everything stayed open. And you couldn't get on an airplane, but you could drive here within 8 to 10 hours.
Fantastic.
So it's a good spot to be in the vacation rental business.
Yeah. So did you find that the other property managers in this community, are they also doing something towards becoming more sustainable at their properties too? Or they're just happy to contribute to the community?
I don't think so. I don't think they contribute to the community either, which is what I'm finding. I'm trying to come to them and offer them a solution.
Yeah.
To just click a few buttons in their software. It would take them less than a couple of minutes to set it up to donate 1%. It really wouldn't be very difficult whatsoever, but I'm not getting any good reception with that. As far as sustainability, like I've said, the housekeepers that work with us, they do comment on the fact that there's still nobody else is doing this, like with the refillable soaps and all that. They're still getting these little packets. And as we continue to grow as a company, that means we take over properties from other management companies, because generally we've grown very quickly from 0 to 150 properties in just under 3 years. So it's usually word of mouth. A lot of it's from Facebook. So when I take over a property from another company and I go in and I see what I have to remove to set it up the way we have it, there's no evidence of anything to do with sustainability. It's just old magazines stacked up. It's little sample size bottles of everything.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's important to them, or that they haven't thought about it. I have no idea. And I'm not personally making a push to tell them how to do their job.
Maybe you might want to share this episode with them when
right.
It's released. Share the episode. Yeah. I was also wanting to touch base on how you broadcast it. So you actually do have a page on your website where you share all the things that you're doing, in terms of sustainability and the local community.
I think so.
Yeah, you do. I spotted it.
I certainly need to. I'm certainly going to review that as soon as we're done, because I want to make sure that it's sufficient, that it has, make sure there is the things that we're doing. I know that one of the things that we do differently, and I haven't seen anybody else do this yet, when you go to our property listings on the internet, and you're scrolling through photos, which is generally what interests you in booking the property anyway, as you click from slide to slide to slide, there'll be an actual slide instead of a photo, and it'll say something like, we give back, 1% goes back to the community. And then you'll flip through a few more photos, and then it'll say, this is what we do for sustainability or whatever. And then, or this is how we sanitize the property, or high-speed Wi-Fi or whatever, those types of slides. So
that's great.
Because I want them to almost be forced to see that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's a great idea. In fact, I mean, not that I don't want to promote OTAs, but if you're stuck on an OTA, if you've got property on an OTA and they don't have any kind of green badging, then you can actually create a slide and pop it in amongst your photos, so that at least people, if they are looking at your property, can know, oh yeah, they're a green property, or they're doing something about it. I think that's very, very good.
I don't know. Yeah, I was shopping for a car, and that's what happened. You slide through the photos of the car, and I saw, wow. So immediately I'm saying, we have to do that. So we did it, and I don't know why other people don't do it. It's such a great opportunity to force that information out there.
Yeah. Do you get any kind of feedback from your guests about the sustainability or the giving that you do? Does anyone comment or put it in a review?
We get a lot of feedback in the sense that, people do love working with us. I think if they're going to review anything, generally not anything about sustainability. No, it's more like, we've been coming here for 30 years and never had such a great experience. Or because we also, we put fresh flowers in for every guest. They get a very nice canvas tote bag so that, they can take all their stuff down to the beach. They get beach towels, that kind of stuff. So and the canvas tote bag is for them, to keep. So
better than
everything
plastic.
we do is, everything we do is the highest quality. It's funny that you say that about plastic, because the company that I left, I guess they figured out we were doing these tote bags, right? Now, again, we spend a lot of time researching the best tote bag we can find. It's expensive, but if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right. And then I see shortly thereafter, they're providing a bag, but it's one of those plastic sort of grocery bags.
Oh.
And then they hang them on the door with like magazines in them. Like local magazines. And it's like they're trying to do it, but they're really
off the mark.
Yeah.
So
I don't think anybody really thinks about that. I think for the most part, because everything that we do and everything I preach at the company it's all about serving. So like if you go on my LinkedIn page for Host to Coast, I don't talk about my company at all. I talk only about serving people. And because we do that at our core, it attracts other people to work with us. It attracts other employees. And I just have a feeling that the majority of my competition, well, we don't really have a competition, we only compete with ourselves, but the other people in our industry are really just more worried about how much money they get this property. So I don't think they're concerned about anything other than that.
Yeah.
They're not going to take steps for sustainability because it might cost them money.
Yeah. I was actually just having a chat with someone before this earlier today. And my point of view is that the holiday rental industry is sort of split into two branches now. Once upon a time, it was just the one branch, which was hospitality. And now it's split into hospitality and salespeople and wealth building and things like that. It's all about automation and make money. And it's not about the guest. It's not about the hospitality. And so, those people that they just want to make the most that they can. Yeah. Whereas when you're in hospitality, it is all about the guest experience. And it is, you do think about the whole thing for the guest, the whole picture. And and look, there is a growing niche of guests that want sustainable properties. So, you're on the right track.
Yeah, I think when you promote that and not just, but that's the thing. We're not even trying to really brag about it. We just want to do it.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a professional revenue manager, so I get to think about the guest experience while he gets to take care of making the most money he can for our property owners.
Yeah, he's making sure you make the money that you can spend on tote bags.
That's right, 100%. Yep.
And you can easily afford to give that 1% away. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's lovely. Yep. Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up now. Any tips or any suggestions to convince someone to start on the journey towards becoming greener?
Well, I think with regards to the amenities as a hospitality provider, what we're doing is so simple. It saves money in the first place because you put these pumps in there and they stay in there, and when you just refill them, it's easy. Mm-hmm. It just is easier. So why not do it?
Yeah.
As far as the LED bulbs, I don't know how much do they really save in energy. Consider the fact that the amount of time it saves you by not having to go replace regular bulbs. So we get fewer calls. We're always trying to be proactive in our properties so that we don't, not only so that the guest, number one, is not inconvenienced, but we don't want to be inconvenienced either because their lamp bulb is out. So it's just so small. It's like giving 1% away. It's you don't think about it. You just do it.
Yeah.
So, that would be my thing to other companies in this business, is just make a decision to do it.
Yeah.
And you could do it like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
Go to Target or go online and buy the Method brand soap pumps. There's so many people out there that have created products for us to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. They just take advantage of them.
Yeah, yeah. And look, it just takes a little bit of thought. Even that you were saying about the dishwasher pods, you put them in a little jar and you just refill the jar. That's it. Simple. There are very easy ways to do this. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you use a company like Drops, which is who we use for the laundry and dishwasher pods. And if you do any research on that, they're all about sustainability. Mm-hmm. So everything they do, the box that they ship them in, it's just a huge cardboard box.
Yeah.
So that's recyclable. Everything is, pretty easy to do if you just do it.
Yeah. You just got to start. You just got to start on that journey. Mm-hmm. You've just given a couple of very easy steps, first steps. Yep. Mark, it's been lovely hearing about your journey and the things that you're doing.
Thank you.
It's been really, really lovely. Thank you very much for your time.
It's been a great chat. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode and were at least a little bit inspired. If you'd like to catch up on the other episodes that you've missed, just head to thegreenpathpodcast.com. See you next time.